TV. Tonight we're asking a very big question. Who benefits from Islamophobia? It's breaking out everywhere. In France, there have been more than 100 Islamophobic attacks since the mass murder by three fanatics, killing Jews in a grocer's shop, a kosher grocer's shop, just innocent people doing their shopping. Some of them rescued, incidentally, by a Muslim from Mali. 2 police officers, cartoonists, journalists, workers, and even visitors to the controversial French magazine Charlie Hebdo. 17 people were killed, and the whole world stopped to look and to pause and to pay tribute. Indeed, much of the world, including many charlatans, flooded to Paris to lead a march of more than 1 million people through the streets of the great French capital. But very few people have noticed the 100+ attacks on French Muslims and their properties in the days that have followed. There have been bombs, there have been grenades, there have been petrol bomb attacks, arson attacks, bullets fired, people assaulted. The Muslims in France are going through a very, very tough time. But it's not just in France. A wave of Islamophobia has swept Europe, and it has crossed the English Channel and reached here. We'll be talking in a few minutes to Tell Mama, Fayaz Mogul of Tell Mama, which charts anti-Muslim Islamophobic attacks. But before I go to Fayaz, let me give you my own view as to who benefits. The first people who benefit are racists. There are some fools who constantly say that hating Muslims cannot be racist because Islam is a religion, not a race. Well, it's true that in Europe and North America there are white Muslims, actually a growing number of them. But the vast majority of Muslims in Europe and in Britain are people of colour. And for the racists who once upon a time just evinced their hatred of all people of colour, a synonym called Muslim, a synonym called Islam has emerged in its place, which allows them to say that they're not racist, they just hate Muslims, they just hate Islam. And these racists, of course, provide a voting base for right-wing parties, particularly in Europe, though with the rise of UKIP here in Britain, we're catching up fast. UKIP have shifted the entire debate around immigration and by extension race to the right. They have succeeded in imposing their agenda on so-called mainstream parties and thus have achieved already a very considerable victory before a vote has been cast in the general election. So right-wing parties, racists benefit from Islamophobia. Liberals benefit from Islamophobia. These are people, generally speaking, who don't believe in God, who ridicule the idea of God, who simply cannot figure that people can be of faith. And so they want to ridicule and belittle the idea of God and those who believe in God. And Islamophobia helps them. It's the last respectable form of racism. You could not sit around a dinner table in Notting Hill or in Hampstead or in Islington and evince hatred of black people or Jews or Roman Catholics or Asian people. You couldn't do that. But you can, and they do, sit around a table belittling, ridiculing, slandering Islam, slandering Muslims. So they also benefit. Israel benefits from Islamophobia because Netanyahu and people like him place themselves in this narrative that we are you, you are us, and they are the other. And you see what we're up against, you see what happened in Paris, we face that kind of danger every single day. And beyond and above that, the imperial powers who are still interfering, invading, occupying, subverting, and above all, exploiting the Muslim world benefit from this Islamophobic wave that's going on. Because if you pump the air full of fear, loathing, hatred of Islam, which is what the meaning of Islamophobia is, then it's very much easier for you to sell to your public that you have to be invading and occupying and militarily and politically intervening everywhere in the Muslim world, propping up this dictator, bringing down this dictator as they see fit. It's much easier to sell that to your public. It's also much easier to sell to your public that they themselves are in danger, and that when in danger, cling to nanny, cling to nurse for fear of something worse, as the English say. And that's what's happening now. Who will protect you best from these fanatic Muslims? Now,